What's going on, people? I hope everybody is cool, man. So I wanted to hop on here real quick to talk about a clip that I just saw on Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, okay, where he was talking about a black pastor by the name of Phillip Anthony Mitchell of the 2819 church, I believe it's called, in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, they say it's the fastest growing church in Atlanta. Pastor Phillip Anthony Mitchell. Now, Pastor Mitchell, he made a comment in regards to black youth being killed by white cops. He took to his pulpit and he said, stop blaming white cops for killing black youth. Okay, now he called a lot of flack for this, of course. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the clip and then I'm going to come back with my commentary and speak on it because I definitely have something to say about it. Now, this is live, straight from the phone. See me waving, no cuts, no edits. All right. So I'm going to play the clip and then I'm going to give my reaction when I come back. All right. But stick around because I'm definitely going somewhere with it. Without further ado, here we go.
A black pastor blames black people for being killed by the police. Here it is.
Stop blaming white cops for the killing of black kids. Instead, teach your black children to be obedient towards authority. And I don't care if most of y'all are black. You need to teach your children to obey authority. We need to teach our sons and daughters to obey authority. We need to teach our children to not fight against authority, not fight against cops, not rebel. Be model citizens. Stop being rebellious towards authority. Be submitted to laws and ordinances. Watch. The Lord said, give back to Caesar what belongs to him. That is, be submitted to governmental authority. You know why you're looking at me like that? Because you don't read. And an Italian cop drove right by me, and I locked eyes with the cop, and we stared at each other, and he drove by. And in that moment, I hear the voice of my mom and my father. Son, obey authority. In that moment, with that Glock pressed to my head, I got to make a decision. Either my ego is going to be strong, God, or my submission to authority is going to be stronger than my ego.
Preacher, I got some commentary and words for you. Hopefully a little bit of advice. I'm very thankful, along with many black folk, including yourself, that Rosa Parks did not listen to men like you. Because she would have had to, according to you, respect the laws and the ordinances that said black folk could not sit where they wanted to sit on the bus that they were paying for.
What I'm going to do, man, I'm going to stop it right there. Y'all know Dr. Rashad Ritchie had to get on him, but I have something to say in regards to this. Now, as a devout Christian myself, I believe I'm qualified to speak on this. Now, first and foremost, this is why you do not put people on pedestals, okay? Because one day they will say something that you agree with, and then the next day they will say something that you disagree with, okay? This is why you don't prop people up and put them on pedestals and, you know, and worship them, etc., because they're just people. You don't put people on pedestals. Now, before I dive into it, I want to say this. I understand the angle he was coming from. Now stick with me because I'm going somewhere with it. I understand the angle he was coming from. He racialized it, though. He racialized it with a very touchy subject like black youth and white cops, right? Which he didn't have to do, but he did it. Okay, fine. He's him. I'm me. But I understand the angle he was coming from. Now, he was speaking from scripture. And I respect that. The Bible does talk about submission to authority, right? As far as like Romans 13:1, where it says, quote, let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God, unquote. So yes, biblically, there is a call to respect and submit to authority. I don't disagree with that. Render to Caesar, etc. I do not disagree with what he was saying. All right. However, here comes the however. Here's the thing. The statement that he made in regards to him saying, stop blaming white cops for killing black youth, that statement alone lacked great balance. Great balance. All right? See, he focused on one side of the issue the behavior of black youth, but completely overlooked the behavior and the corruption that exists within police departments and that the FBI has said existed in police departments for years. For years. He completely ignored that. And he missed the mark. He missed the mark. All right. Now, there are absolutely young people, right? Black, white, whatever, who mouthed off to cops, to police. That's real. We've all seen it, right? But we have also seen First Amendment auditors on YouTube, mostly white people, curse out police officers, test the limits of authority, refuse to show ID, tell cops to shut the F up, what they're not going to do. Put your hands on me, I'll do this, right? They walk right into government buildings recording and saying what they're not going to do, telling the cops what they ain't gonna do, right? And guess what? They walk away untouched because they are exercising their rights. No handcuffs, no shots, no funerals, right? But, you know, if it was black youth doing that, and one of them got hurt by the cops for doing that, people would be sitting back saying, oh, they should just respect authority. They should stop doing that. You know? I mean, Lord, black people are very, very, very special. Very special, man. Seriously. And I don't mean special like in a bad way. I mean special. I mean, everything you do gets paid attention to, whether it's good or bad. All right? Now, what you said in regards to black youth being killed by white cops, that part of the conversation deserves just as much attention, if not more, because a lack of submission is not a death sentence. All right? It's not a death sentence. It's a very controversial comment that you made, and you did not balance it. And when you frame it like they died because they didn't submit, you're putting the blame on the victim while giving bad cops a pass. The Bible calls for us to respect authority, yes, but it also calls for us to stand up for justice, does it not? Because if you look at Isaiah 1:17, it says, quote, learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, plead the widow's cause, right? Unquote. If you go to Proverbs 31:8-9, it says, quote, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all of, what is that? For the rights of all who are destitute, speak up and judge fairly, defend the rights of the poor and the needy, unquote. All right. We can't just quote Romans 13 and stop there, because the same Bible that says submit to authority also tells us to confront evil, expose wrongdoing, and defend the oppressed. Right? Pastor Phillip Anthony Mitchell, you had the mic, you had the platform, and you had the moment, right? And when you told your congregation to stop blaming white cops without also calling out the wickedness and the demonic behavior of some of those white cops from gang units within the police departments. When I say gang units, I'm not talking about cops that go after gang units. I'm talking about actual gang units that cops have formed within the police department, and they go out and do evil in the community. Okay? The statement you said, man, it lacked balance. All right? It lacked balance. It was a half truth. Okay? Because it's not just black youth that, you know, get a little mouthy with police. I've seen videos of all kinds of youth getting mouthy with cops. What is this black thing? See, that's what I'm talking about. Black people are very special. All right? And that statement alone, it was a spit in the face to every mother who lost a child to unjust police violence. That statement alone that he made was a spit in the face to the family of Tamir Rice. Right? That statement alone that he made was a spit in the face to the family of Philando Castile. Right? A spit in the face. For every father who raised his son right, but still had to bury him from an unjust police killing, there was a spit in that father's face. For every young person who's been profiled, roughed up, or just scared to walk to the store because the cops are out there looking to do damage and bother them, that was a spit in their face. You should have balanced that statement. That statement alone was very inconsiderate. It was incomplete, and honestly, it was just unbalanced. You know, it was unbalanced, man. So I say this, man. Next time, Pastor Phillip Anthony Mitchell, speak both sides, because partial truth and a broken system can do real harm. All right? You called out black youth and telling them to follow the laws and submit to authority. That's fine. But then you also should have followed up with telling the crooked, wicked, demonic cops, the ones who are out there perpetuating hatred and evil, to follow rules and follow the laws and treat people with dignity and treat people with respect. You should have leveled that thing off, which is why you're catching a lot of backlash for what you said, man. And I believe rightfully so. Rightfully so. And this is why you do not put pastors, politicians, or anybody up on a pedestal, because one day you'll like them and the next day you'll be, upset with something they said. He didn't even have to go racial with it. He decided to say, stop blaming white cops for killing black youth. That's a very, very, very touchy subject, because if you look at the data, there is some discrepancies with that. Okay? There is some discrepancies with that. He should have backed that up a little bit more. He should have leveled that a little bit more. And he didn't, and I believe the flack that he's catching is warranted. And with that being said, man, I'm going to leave you all with this. Proverbs 11:5 says, quote, the righteousness of the blameless makes their paths straight, but the wicked are brought down by their own wickedness, unquote. The wicked, whether in the streets or wearing a badge, pastor, will indeed fall. Right? And you have wickedness on both sides, in the streets, and you have wickedness behind those badges. All right. So let's speak on both of them. All right. We can't downplay one and uplift the other. Y'all take care, man. God bless. Peace.